Lena and Daniel had been married for 6 years. They lived in a beautiful apartment on the 15th floor of a tall building in the city. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Friends called them lucky. Family called them blessed. But inside those walls, there was only silence. It wasn't always like this. In the beginning, they talked for hours. About silly dreams. About traveling the world together. About the names they would give their future children. They laughed until their stomachs hurt. They shared secrets no one else knew. But slowly, like water dripping from a tap, the words disappears. One missed conversation turned into two. Two turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Neither of them noticed when exactly the silence began. Daniel started working late. Every night, the office needed him. At least, that's what he said. Lena stopped asking questions. She stopped setting the table for two. The food became cold. The empty chair across from her felt heavier than any argument they never had. Sometimes, Lena would stand by the window and watch the city below. Thousands of people. Thousands of conversations. And here, in this apartment, nothing. She wondered if Daniel ever thought about her during the day. She wondered if he missed her voice. One rainy Saturday, Daniel left early for work. Lena walked around the empty apartment. The silence was louder than ever. She decided to clean the bedroom closet. Maybe staying busy would help. Maybe it would make the loneliness quieter. In the back of the closet, behind old coats and forgotten shoes, she found a small wooden box. It was covered in dust. She had never seen it before. She sat on the floor, placed the box in her lap and opened it slowly. Inside were letters, dozens of them, tied together with a faded blue ribbon. Love letters. Daniel wrote them when they first met, when he was too shy to say the words out loud, when his heart was full and brave. Lena's hands trembled as she untied the ribbon. She opened the first letter. It read, "Lena, I saw you today at the bookstore. You were holding a cup of coffee and laughing with your friend. I wanted to walk over. I wanted to say something clever, but I just stood there frozen. Maybe tomorrow I'll be braver." She smiled. She remembered that bookstore. She remembered those days. She read another letter. "Tonight you held my hand for the first time. We were walking by the river. It was cold. Your fingers were cold. But my heart was so warm. I think I am falling in love with you." A tear slipped down her cheek. When did they stop holding hands? Letter after letter, she remembered the man she married. The man who wrote poetry for her. The man who noticed the color of her dress. The man who said he would never stop talking to her. Where did that man go? Then she found the last letter in the box. It was different. The envelope was sealed. It was addressed to her. The date on it was 1 year ago. He wrote it but never gave it to her. She opened it with shaking hands. The handwriting was messy. Some words were smudged. It read, "My love, I don't know how to say this. I know we are lost. I know we don't talk anymore. We sit in the same room and feel miles apart. But I don't know how to cross that distance. I miss your laugh. I miss the way you said my name. I miss us. Please help me find my way back. Please don't give up on me." Lena held the letter against her chest and cried. For all the lost conversations. For all the cold dinners. For the silence that grew like a wall between them. She had been waiting for Daniel to speak, but he had been waiting too. They were both lost, both hurting, both afraid. She looked around the bedroom. His side of the bed. His pillow. The book he was reading still on the nightstand. He was still here. Not gone. Just lost. And maybe, just maybe, he could be found again. That evening, Daniel came home late as always. He opened the door quietly, expecting darkness. But the lights were on. Lena was sitting on the sofa waiting. She didn't look angry. She looked tired and hopeful at the same time. She stood up and walked toward him. Without saying a word, she held up the unopened letter. Daniel stared at it. His face went pale. Then his eyes filled with tears. All the words he couldn't say for a year were written on that small piece of paper. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. So Lena spoke first. "I found your letters," she whispered. "All of them. The ones you wrote when you were brave. And this one. The one you wrote when you were scared." "I'm scared too." Daniel broke down. He fell to his knees and held her hands. "I'm sorry," he said again and again. "I didn't know how to come back. I wanted to. Every day I wanted to. But the silence was too loud." They sat on the floor together, just like she had done that morning. But this time she wasn't alone. They talked for hours. About the silence. About the loneliness. About the work, the distance, the fears they never shared. It was painful, but it was real. That night, they didn't sleep much. But they didn't need to. They were too busy remembering each other. Daniel made tea at 3 a.m. Lena burned the toast. They laughed for the first time in years. It felt strange. The next day, Daniel came home early. He brought flowers. Not expensive roses, but simple white daisies. Lena's favorite. She had forgotten she ever told him that. He had remembered. Days turned into weeks. The silence didn't disappear overnight. Old habits are hard to break. But something changed. They started eating together again. They asked about each other's day. Sometimes the conversations were short. Sometimes they were deep. But they were there. The silence was shrinking. One evening, Daniel came home with a small box wrapped in brown paper. He placed it on the dinner table. Lena looked at him with curious eyes. "What is this?" she asked. He smiled nervously. "Open it." Inside was a new notebook. Leather cover. Empty cream pages and a pen. "Let's write letters again," he said softly. "Even when words are hard. Even when I'm scared. I'll write to you. And you write to me. No silence. Just words." Lena picked up the notebook and held it close. She didn't say yes right away. Instead, she opened the first page and began to write. Daniel watched her, his heart beating fast. When she finished, she handed the notebook to him. Daniel read her first entry. It said, "My love, today you gave me a notebook. Today you remembered white daisies. Today you came home early. Today the silence lost. And we won." He looked up at her, tears streaming down his face. She was crying too. But this time, they were happy tears. From that night on, the notebook became their bridge. Some days the entries were long. Some days just one sentence. "Thinking of you. Thank you for listening. I love you." But every word was a small victory against the silence. Months later, Lena found the old wooden box again. She opened it and placed the new notebook inside, right next to the old love letters. The past and the present. The silence and the healing. All together. All part of their story. One Sunday morning, they sat on the balcony together. The city was waking up below them. Daniel held Lena's hand. "Do you remember that day?" he asked. "The day you found the letter?" Lena nodded. "I almost threw it away," she said. I'm glad you didn't, Daniel whispered. You saved us. She squeezed his hand. No, we saved each other.